Jeff Callahan here from Become More Compelling, and this is another episode of Compelling Convos. So today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, and that is the concept of being yourself. When it comes to people skills and charisma, a lot of kind of fear that happens is someone might say, oh, I want to be better with people, but I don't want to be fake or inauthentic. So today we're going to unpack this, and I think it's really going to help you if you are in a situation where you wish you could communicate more effectively, even maybe if you're in a job and you want to do some things that are a little bit more ambitious and they don't fit with what you've done in the past. So I'm excited to talk to you about this today. So let's unpack the concept of being yourself. I want to underscore something. You're always you. I'm going to repeat that. You are always you. So what this means is that, yeah, you can try on new approaches and new behaviors, but at the end of the day, it's you who are doing those new approaches or new behaviors. What you'll find is, like most things in life, if you are presented with an issue or a problem and one way of approaching it just isn't cutting it, well, it's in your best interest to adapt and overcome. It's not in your best interest to keep trying the same thing over and over and over. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results? Over time, as you try those new behaviors and you start seeing results, at first they may have felt a little inauthentic because it's just not what you've done in the past. It's just different. And what you'll find is over time, that new normal becomes second nature to you, and you're unconsciously doing it because you're getting the results that you want. So it's a lot like the first time you walk into the gym. So you might walk in, you kind of look around and you wonder like, okay, what does this machine do? How do I check in? How do I use the lockers? And everything is so new. It's taken up a lot of mental processing power for you to navigate all that. Now, compare that with the 100th time you've walked into the gym. Maybe it's a few months later. You get in, you know exactly what you're there for. You start working out, and everything is second nature to you. Now, when you first walked in, it's hard for you to imagine on day one what it might be like on day 100, but it happened slowly but surely over time. When you hear the advice of just be confident. So let's talk about being yourself and being confident. Confidence comes from competence. So if you operate at the outer edge of the zone of your comfort, so that zone of just things feel really good, I'm very comfortable, getting outside of that just a little bit. We don't want to go way outside of it, but if we're just outside of that zone of comfort, we're operating at the edge. And so we're pushing that zone and we're expanding it over time. Because when you expand that zone of competence, then you're going to feel confident, which with the things that were further inside that zone that first felt scary to you, just like our gym example a second ago. So a story to really drive this home. All throughout like junior high, high school, and even a little bit of college, I had a pretty severe stutter. It was exacerbated in social situations where I was uncomfortable, and so a lot of times it felt like I couldn't even get the words out. I remember my first real job was selling running shoes. So when I started that job, the thought of going up and asking a stranger, hey, how's it going? Can I help you with anything? Or starting a little conversation with them, that was super daunting. I mean, I remember vividly walking up to customers, and at first I couldn't even start a conversation because it was too painful for me. Now, over time, I got better at talking with people that I didn't know because it came with the territory. You had to do it. And about 15 years later, after I'd even been out of retail for a while, I remember helping my wife set up a booth for a craft fair. And I sat there for a little bit, and I couldn't help talking to people. Like, people would wander by the booth. I would say, hey, how's it going today? So what brings you guys down here? And it was automatic. It's not something that I could consciously control. So over time, things can become your new normal. And what felt inauthentic or different or fake, whatever label you want to use there, it ends up being part of you and part of who you are, because, go back to it, you're always you. So our action step today is, remember that you are always you. You are not inauthentic because you try on some kind of new behavior or new approach. That's only natural. Adapting to life and to social situations, that's normal, and it's good to adapt. It's okay to try new approaches. So you might try out that new story that you've been working on. You might crack a joke here or there. When you try out these new things, gauge that feedback, because if you tell a story and it falls flat time after time after time, well, maybe it's not a story worth telling. But if you tell a story and it gets laughter every single time, or it really hits and people are really engaged with it, or maybe it's the way you talk about what you do for work, and if you're getting those signals that something's working because you tried something new, key in on that and say, okay, great, I'm going to keep doing this because it's working. We always want to keep doing things that are giving us results, but we don't want to be afraid to change what isn't getting us results. All right, so that's it for today. If you have another topic that or question that you would like me to answer on Compelling Conversations, then send me an email at jeff@becomemorecompelling.com, or hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at @thejeffcallahan, and I will make sure to answer it in a future Compelling Convo. See you next time.